Welcome back. So, this week, I'm kind of just following up on, the same thing, what I've been going through with the perfectionism thing and letting it go. So, learning how to let go of wanting validation from others and giving myself validation. So, last week I talked about how you give yourself space in your body for like all the uncomfortable things to come up. Like, because you start feeling all that pent up trauma, that pent up, tension and everything inside of you, and I got to get it out. It's not comfortable. I don't like it. So what do you do when you don't like something? You go and handle it. Like, I'm not going to really sit in this discomfort. I'm going to go deal with that. Okay, yeah. So, anyways, that's what I do, and I encourage you to do that as well because I got to figure this out. So, I was doing work. I was creating space in my body for my emotions to come up, and it took a while. Like right before I had my breakthrough, my body, it felt so uncomfortable. It was like like I felt overwhelmed and I felt really confused. Like I didn't really even understand it. Like I'm doing the things that I need to be doing. I'm doing my yoga, I'm doing my freaking breath works, I'm doing like relaxation things. But why is my body still feeling like this? I don't understand. So it got way worse before it got better, right? I want to say like maybe Thursday. Was it Thursday or Friday? No, that was yesterday. So, it was yesterday morning. So yesterday morning is when it was really the worst. And I literally wanted to cry because I did not know what the fuck was going on. Like, I am doing everything right and I feel uncomfortable still in my body. Like I was talking about how I was feeling all this in my shoulders. This shoulder specifically was bad. It's making me crazy. So I got out my tarot cards and was like, I'm gonna figure this out. Like I do. So what's going on? Like what's happening? I pulled 3 of Swords with the 6 of Cups. And that is like pain regarding your past, pain regarding your childhood. And I was like, oh boy, woo, healing, right? So I got into a couple groups. Well, I have my Wild Woman group, and I'm also doing like a business class right now. So I'm also working with these other group of people. So I'm working with these group of people and these group of people. And between the two, I feel like messages were being delivered to me throughout what I was listening to, what I was experiencing, So the breakthrough came after I was listening to these people. So I did my little tarot readings, like, okay, so I get it. I'm having pain, which, yeah, makes sense. But the reason why the unconscious is dark, it's because you can't see it. It's unconscious. How are you supposed to know what it is? You have to explore the dark. You got to get your flashlight out and figure it out. So let's see. So I was doing the work physically, making the space emotionally, and then something happened in my daily life that triggered me, and it was being overlooked. So I was talking to somebody who overlooked me, and I was kind of like, well, that's rude. And then I started realizing, oh, that's a trigger. Okay. So I realized in my life I stuffed down emotional disappointment basically every single time that it came up. If anything was emotionally disappointing to me, then I'm just going to go over here where I'm happy. Forget about that. Let's go over here. Spiritual bypassing. There it is. Boom. So I realized where this was coming from, which was where childhood trauma gets involved. Okay, so in childhood, I was kind of the peacekeeper for my parents who had a very toxic relationship. My dad cheated on my mom. My mom was always drunk and sad, and I was the one who was constantly giving to her, trying to make her feel better, because then if she felt better, then maybe she would love me, right? Because I didn't feel loved and I didn't feel validated. So I wanted her love and her validation. So I keep doing that. That's where the perfectionism comes in. Boom. I'm playing out my childhood patterning. Same thing with like, so then, dad cheated. So that was my first emotional disappointment by a man. So I kind of dismiss masculine energies altogether. And I didn't even realize I was still doing this in my daily life until I'm like, until I realized it. I'm like, oh God, I felt bad. Like, ugh. So seeking validation outside of myself and also dismissing masculines. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So when I didn't get attention from my mom, instead what I would do was, the way I got attention was piss her off. Okay, what can I do to piss her off? Then I'll get attention. Started realizing that's still kind of playing out too. That's still kind of playing out in my dynamics too. Not always. It's just recently I started noticing these patterns. So I would sabotage myself because of this inner child wound. And I had no idea. Like, this was just running on autopilot. And I'm like, dang, I'm kind of sabotaging myself in my life at times by looking for validation outside of myself, dismissing people that maybe I would have wanted to connect with, So I knew I was working on my perfectionism and not seeking validation outside of myself, but I had no idea why. And it's like I see myself changing, like I am changing, I am validating myself, I am not looking outside of myself most of the time. And this is helping me heal, obviously. This is healing my patterns because I'm consistently showing up for myself. And it's funny because I had the breakthrough after I've already started to do the healing on it, So it's like, as soon as I got the breakthrough, I got the boom, like, dang, like, oh, glass ceiling fucking shattered. And then this tension left my body. This tension I've been working to get out is gone. Are you kidding me? I just had to consciously realize it. And I'm like, all right, spirit, I see you. That's what's up. Okay, so now I'm completely aware of the pattern. Now the physical symptoms are gone. I feel light. I'm doing my somatic breath works. I'm doing my body wisdom. I'm doing healing the witch wound. These are all things that I started doing to become more comfortable in my body. The funny thing is you can have no friggin' idea why your body's hurting. And then you give yourself space and you go, universe, hold me while I figure this out. I'm probably going to cry and I'm probably going to yell and I'm probably going to throw a fucking fit. But please just hold me while I do this because I need to figure it out. I need to heal it, right? So when you're giving yourself the space and time and you're telling the universe that you want to heal things, then the universe is going to bring the breakthrough to you. You see how it showed up in this set, like this group, and then boom, in my experience, like, oh shit, there it is. But if I wasn't paying attention, I wouldn't have been able to see it. So I see how this pattern has affected not only my work life, but my romantic life. And then you're just like, dang, okay. Everything's changing now. Now that I've noticed it, everything's changing. I encourage you to look at your childhood dynamics and see how this could possibly be playing out in your reality. I did a meditation and I literally had a vision, and it was like me going into the tree that is my foundation, my stability, seeing this black root, touching this root, and then it turns gold and it springs up with life. And I'm just like, whoa, this is freaking fun and cool. So healing doesn't have to be like sour or like, yeah, you cry, but also if you're like me, my clairvoyance is pretty freaking on point lately. And yeah, so I see like a lot of things like in meditation, and it's fun and it's experiential. I love it. So I encourage you to do your journaling and all that. So you can grow stronger and more stable as well. And the next step, feel it to heal it. Go inside, feel it, cry it out. It hurts. It makes me pissed first. But after I figure out like underneath that pissed, I'm just like sad and wounded. Why? Then I figured out why. You can do the same thing. You can have no idea how these things are influencing your life until you see it, and then you're like, oh, ooh, I've been carrying around this shadow. I've been carrying around this heaviness. So I had to bring my shadow love. I had to bring my inner child love and be like, listen, we don't need to be carrying this weight anymore. Like, it's not worth it. I mean, I want to have a emotionally fulfilling life, and I know that this isn't the way to do it. So let's just get rid of it. Let's just let it go. You know? So if you're uncomfortable because the emotions are uncomfortable, that's why you didn't deal with them in your childhood. You're going to have to deal with them now. You didn't deal with them in your childhood because you don't know how, because you're a freaking child. So for me, what I do, I went into addiction. Like, I went into numbing the pain, all that, whatever. Or just bypassing, just going into a distraction, you know? Like, you have to feel it and heal it. And it's not easy, but it's worth it. Your courage, your bravery, your resilience to do the hard thing, to feel the hard feeling, you're showing the universe that you're ready to take the next step. Universe, I'm willing to do this. Let's rise. Let's rise together. Fuck it. Just go all in. You know, change the pattern. Change the pattern and now make quantum jumps. Dang. Okay. Let's go into our new timeline of joy and peace and unity. It takes time to clear and heal. And healing is in no way linear. Just because you healed this pattern doesn't mean that there's not about another one to be coming up. Your healing journey is going to forever be there. Like, you're always healing. You're always going to uncover the next thing. That's so funny because I actually did go a step deeper. I'll get into that in a moment. So you're one step closer to being your true authentic self and living on purpose. Now, after this breakthrough, I felt amazing. And then I did a somatic breathwork class. And it took me even deeper. So this invalidation wound went even deeper as I tapped into a past life where I was a witch and I was burnt at the stake. Crazy, right? So I always resonated with the witches, or, you know, paganism, the herbalists, the people who use their power for healing. And I felt a persecution wound. I felt invalidation heavy. And I really went into depth and cried that out because I saw the visions of the past life. I mean, it made so much sense because during my spiritual awakening, I kept thinking about death associated with, like, healing. Like, I'm going to step into this power even though I might be killed for it. Like, whoa, that's a crazy way to think. Why would that just be how I think? Well, that's from past life. So after bringing light, love, and healing to all aspects, I feel lighter in my mind, body, and spirit. It's okay if you're not tapped into past lives just yet, because just doing the inner child work, doing the emotional trauma, you're already showing the universe you're willing to go deeper than the surface. This is the skin, this is the surface. You need to go to the blood. Let's go deeper. Let's go into the bone. Like, eventually, you know, you're going to get way deep. But yeah, so if you show the universe that you're willing to have more emotional depth and that you're ready to see what, you know, what you're ready to heal. So, like, I want to heal, so just show me. The universe will reveal to you what needs to be revealed when it needs to be revealed, but you need to work on your emotional endurance, your emotional resiliency, because we're not victims here, right? Like, I also, like, that came up a lot for me too during the witch wound. It's the victim thing. Like, I'm not a victim. That happened in that life, so that in this life it could be more amazing than I ever imagined. Like, when I step into my power, shit's about to crack, you know? So don't crumble. I mean, sure, crumble all you want, but pick yourself back up after you do it, you know? And then every time you pick yourself up, and the shorter it takes, the universe says, okay, we can do this quicker now. Let's have the quickening happen. And that is when you're like, you know what? I'm done playing Spall. I'm ready to step into this. I'm ready to step in the power. 444 on the clock. That's protected by angels. I'm ready to step in my power. I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to show up in this lifetime, not just for me, but for everybody, for the collective. And it's freaking awesome. So the funny thing to me about uncovering my truth this week was I got burned at work. So on Monday, this led to a series of events that actually led to the healing. So I was burned on the outside and I'm healing it with Reiki and stuff. And then on the inside, I'm healing the witch wound of being burned at the stake. Everything's interconnected. Everything. There's no coincidences. Look at the magic all around you. You just have to open your eyes to see it. My witch wound explains why I've always felt defensive towards every single person on this earth, and why it took me so long to find my voice, open my heart to others in true, healthy connection. I'm feeling more open. I'm feeling more heard. And like, I'm not silenced anymore. As you can see, I'm here showing up consistently for you guys. Even before, when I felt like there was no one watching and I was being overlooked, like, I'll never sit back in silence again. I won't. Healing yourself helps heal the planet. You don't need to be afraid to make ripples. I will continue to step into my truth and my authentic expression.